In this video, we are working through example 3.2. And as we discussed in the prior video, there are several initial things that you need to do when working finance problems. First, find out immediately for what you are solving. Second, decide on which two methods you're going to use to solve the problem. And third, set up your timeline. Now, in example 3.2, on page 58 in the Brooks text, the last sentence in the problem asks, how much will it cost Donna today to buy this savings bond? Okay, so we know that we are looking for the present value. So I would make a note like this. Now the next thing is to read the problem in detail to decide on two methods for solving the problem. The problem states, Donna wants to buy a savings bond for her newborn niece. The face value of the savings bond is $500, the amount the niece would receive in 20 years. Future value. So the future value is $500 and N equals 20. And the government is currently paying 4% per year on savings bonds. So I over Y is 4% or 0.04. How much will it cost Donna today to buy this savings bond? So we have PV is equal to Y or equal to question mark or to X. Future value equal to 500. N is equal to 20. I over Y is equal to 4%, and of course I write it two ways to remind myself that if I use the calculator, I'm going to use 4.0, and if I use the equation manually, I'm going to use 0.04. So the two methods I'll select will be the timeline and calculate the formula manually, and my second method is the financial calculator. And we begin. So draw your horizontal line and write PV at the left side, FV at the right side. We know it'll be a 20-year period, but we don't have room to make 20 tick marks, so we'll just write N equals 20 above the line, and you can put an arrow there if you would like. The interest rate, or I, will be 4%. So we will write that under the line. We will write $500 under future value, and then show that we will bring that value back to present value. Now what formula will we use? We will use present value equals future value times 1 divided by 1 plus r raised to the nth. And this part of the equation is our present value interest factor. All right, so when we work through the math, we will have PV equals 500 times 1. We're going to do 1.04 raised to the 20th. And then that will be 500 that'd be 1 over 2.191123. Next, 500 times 0.45637. And when we multiply that through, we get a final present value of $228.19. And we can write that $228.19 on our timeline under the present value, and now compare the solutions that we get from the financial calculator. Now the first thing I would do is just make sure that we have cleared everything out. So Pick the second key and the CE, and then the second key and the future value key. And when you hit the second button, you are using the functions that are indicated in yellow above the calculator keys. Now I think it's easier to just move left to right so that you make sure that you enter everything into the calculator. So we're going to enter into the N, which is this first button on the left, 20. So we have 20 is in. And until you get used to working with the calculator, I'll go back and I'll check off what I've already entered. You don't have to do that. That's just something that I've seen students do as they are learning how to manipulate formulas. Enter 4, I over y. So we're solving for PV, the present value, so we will not enter anything here. We will enter 0 for payment. And remember that the calculator is looking for either PV, PMT, or FV to be entered as a negative number. So the only number we have is $500 for FV, and we'll enter that as a negative number. So we 500, hit the plus minus key, enter that in as FV, the future value. Then hit compute and present value. Compute, present value. You should come up with the number $228.19. I don't know if you can see that on the video or not. I'm going to rewrite it just in case. $228.19. And of course, when we compare that number to the number we calculated manually, we know that they match and they are correct. Now, in review, our steps were the following. We identified what the problem was telling us to do. We picked 2 methods that we would use to solve the problem. We set up the timeline. We manually calculated our answer using the formula. And then we checked our answer against what we entered into the calculator. The answers matched, so we know we are correct. If they had not matched, we would go back and work the problem again on a clean sheet of paper. You wouldn't try to find your errors, just start over. Many times it's a careless mistake that we will not commit again. If you can get through the 2 methods the second time, but you're still not getting your answers are not agreeing, then you've learned something incorrectly, and we need to review the material, and certainly you can post questions like that to the discussion board.